Right, welcome along to Relationship with Food Month. I'm chatting with Kerry Dolan. Kerry, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hello, I am a hypnotherapist and wellbeing coach and specialising in women's health and all things women's health, but menopause is my favourite topic at the moment because that's where I'm at in life.
Fair enough. So, this month we're looking at relationship with food, and obviously a lot of women have a pretty complicated relationship with food. Excuse me, I'm sure you see clients coming to you quite often wanting to sort of unpick their relationship with food. Where do you start with them?
Yes, it's a really good question, and I think as you as you alluded to, I don't think there are many women who reach midlife without some kind of baggage in terms of their relationship with food and labels around what's bad food, what's good food, being too fat, too skinny, too this, too that, the body's the wrong shape. So I think and then of course all the things that menopause throws up can just really exacerbate that. So what I start with most clients is trying to get them focused more on health rather than weight and appearance, more of a relationship with their body from the inside rather than the outside, and understanding. I mean, I work with nutritionists, so that's their bag. But for me, it's getting them to picture how they want to be health-wise, what relationship they would like to have, and then working towards that, rather than, I think, so much in diet culture relies on us looking from a starting point of being quite disgusted with ourselves. I think I heard you mention the pinch more than an inch thing the other day, which I hadn't thought about that for years, but I grew up with that as well. And I was scrawny as anything and just remember being like, oh no, that's me. But yeah, so I think
that's crazy, isn't it? Because I was really little and I would like bend forward so that I could pinch skin. Like I need skin.
Yeah, it's so upsetting. And I'm watching my girls are 10 and 12, and I'm, trying to shield them from it at the moment, and keep their identity very strong. So yeah, getting women to look at what they're working towards, what is healthy for them, because apart from anything, we all have different body shapes. And I think by this point in your life, you can probably recognize times where actually you were a healthy shape and size for you, where you were active, where you were eating well, but not to extremes, and all of those kind of things. So having an idea of where we want to work to, and focusing on that as a motivational force rather than that horrible kind of away from motivation, which is I don't want to be like that, which just raises all kinds of horrible emotions for us. But also I think the difference between that kind of away from I don't want to be that motivation and the towards is, with away from motivation, you haven't really got a direction. You're just like, I don't want to be that. And then a couple of things happen. One, you've got no real focus. So the further away you get from that, the less the motivation is, because you suddenly don't look as bad as you thought you did in the mirror. So the motivation dwindles, but also you don't really know where you're going. Whereas with towards motivation, that's constantly there. There's a direction, so it's pulling you towards something. So the closer you get, actually, the more inspired you are, the more passionate you are. And the other thing about away from motivation is that it just makes us feel terrible. If our motivation is coming from how bad we feel about ourselves. So yeah, a lot of work about teaching women to really appreciate their bodies for the job that they do, for getting us this far, and changing that relationship. And then looking at aspects, most of the women that I see, they know what healthy eating looks like. They know what a healthy diet looks like. They know that being active is important. So all of these things are there. but quite often they're just not doing that. So we're looking at, okay, so what are these bad habits doing for you, or these habits that aren't healthy doing for you? Because we have this idea that people self-sabotage. I don't believe that's true. All the habits that we have a positive intention. You know, if someone is comfort eating, it's because it gives them comfort. You know, there's a positive reason. So what we need to do, rather than just take that comfort food away, which is never going to work, is look at what kind of comfort do you get from that food? What is it that you need? What is it about the eating? How does that make you feel? And where else could we get that, so that you're not, and you know, then it becomes easy to change your habits. If you've got something, you're not missing anything, there's not a hole to fill, then you're not turning back to those old habits.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier about internal versus external, and I just wanted to sort of pick up on that. I think it's something that I find quite interesting, sort of observing diet culture is all external. It's all about what you should be doing and the plan to follow, and it totally absolves you of any need to actually tune into your body or listen to what your body's telling you. Yeah. Whereas of course, if you're trusting what your body and honoring your body to say, actually, my body deserves what it needs, you know, healthy becomes what your body needs rather than some prescriptive idea of it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think so many people actually have a very, if you limit your understanding of nutrition, well, not even an understanding of nutrition, if you limit your kind of taking care of your body to how many calories, you know, an avocado has the same amount of calories as a bag of Skittles, but I know which one. Well, if I'm going to eat a bag of Skittles, and believe me, I do, I'm not going to have it in place of my nutrition. You know, my body needs a certain amount of nutrition, and I want to get my nutrients in place. But if we're operating solely on that calorie counting, then, you know, you feed your body a packet of Skittles, it's got nothing to work with, and so you're still hungry, and you're unhealthy. So I think, you know, there is that danger in diet culture that people can look healthy. Even so, I would argue that, because people, even, you know, if you're existing on a very low calorie or unhealthy diet, you don't look great really, but you might be skinny, but might be incredibly unhealthy, whereas somebody else might be eating a really healthy diet, be super healthy, but not be a size 8, 10, 12, you know, just they are a naturally curvier shape or what have you. So I think that's a really important thing. And also, if you have that relationship with your body, you can start to learn to eat mindfully. So rather than denying ourselves things and having that kind of vocabulary that I'm not allowed chocolate and I don't eat cake, I can't have carbs, all of that kind of stuff, which I grew up hearing my mum talk about, which is why I've never dieted. It didn't work for her. But I think if you take that language out and you eat mindfully, then you actually notice that point where you've eaten too much, or before that, you know, so you don't eat a massive packet of Doritos, you eat a handful or a little bowlful, and then you stop enjoying them and you notice that and you put them away.
Absolutely. And that really ties in with you know, when you restrict something, you focus on wanting that thing, don't you? Yeah. And as soon as everything is available to you and you choose to eat mindfully, you choose the thing that your body needs in that moment. And you know, that's going to change through your cycle. There's going to be days when what your body is crying out for is carbs and chocolate and all of the comfort food, and it's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. And you can also, I think, if you know, you can start, I've trained my body over the years into having darker chocolate and organic chocolate. So now if I do, and again, you know, there's nothing I'm not allowed, but if I do have, you know, Cadbury style chocolate, too late to say are we allowed to name brands, but if I go that route, you know, I actually find it quite sickly quite quickly. So the dark chocolate I prefer, and I know that's a healthier choice. And if I have organic, it's actually got loads of magnesium in it, so I can consider it a health food too.
I think, but this is the thing, isn't it? It's personal taste as well, you know, and you know, some people find that dark chocolate is too strong a flavour, but
Yeah.
actually some milk chocolate is exactly what hits the spot for them. And
Yeah.
and that's fine too, you know. And this is I guess what we're all trying to sort of get across in this month,
Yeah.
looking at relationship with food, is this idea that, headline, shock, horror, drum roll, it's okay to eat food and none of it is bad or good. It's, some of it will make you feel healthier, some of it will make you feel more lethargic, but that's the choice that you can make.
Yeah.
At any point.
And I think it's much easier as well to bring in habits rather than try and outlaw habits. So, you know, through menopause, I've definitely noticed certain things that my body never particularly liked, but I could get away with. Now my body kicks up quite a lot more of a fuss, like wheat and sugar, for example. And again, I refuse to say I'm not going to eat those things, I'm not allowed those things. But what I've done is play around with recipes and bring in alternatives and start bringing healthier things, other alternatives in, so that temptation is less often there. Because actually, for example, I make my own chocolate with maple syrup because my body just can deal with that better. So that's always in the fridge, and that does me quite well, apart from when it doesn't, and then I go and get my normal chocolate, and that's fine.
And that's the thing. And it, you know, it ties in with everything that I'm always wittering on about with tracking and listening to what your body's telling you, because a lot of us, as we go through perimenopause, start to be more sensitive to certain foods and things. And there's no rule book to say you can't have those, but let it be an informed decision.
Yeah.
You know, let it be, okay, I've identified that if I eat sugary things in the evening, I will have night sweats. But actually, do you know what? It's my friend's birthday, I want to eat cake. That's fine. But you're doing it mindfully. And,
Yeah.
you know, taking that informed decision.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. One rule that I try to live by, that I think is a good one, is that if I'm eating for hunger or for snack times or meal times, that I eat something nutritional. And I've been informed, I'm sure we've got nutritionists on here who will confirm this, but something with fibre and protein. So for if I'm hungry, so mid-afternoon, I always am flagging in energy, and quite often that leads you, that flagging energy leads you to reach for sugar if you leave it too late. So I've learned to keep some oat biscuits or something that's an alternative there, because if I eat sugar, I just end up having to eat more and more, because it doesn't really, I crash and it doesn't really do the thing that I need it to. So that's been important for me, is to introduce a snack, a healthy snack at that time, or even energy balls, because sometimes I do want that sweet thing, something like that. And then after that, if I've taken care of my nutrition, if I want to eat the chocolate bar or the sweets or whatever it is, then that's fine too. But yeah, I do think it's important, because we have the flagging energy. I do think we can find ourselves reaching for sugary treats because of flagging energy, when actually that's not going to help us.
And if we actually tune into what our body needs, chances are, if we tune in time and learn to recognize our hunger cues and catch our hunger at the kind of, I'm still in control of this hunger, rather than, oh my God, I'm ravenous and hangry.
Yeah.
If we can catch it in time, exactly like you're saying, if you have some sort of snacks in the house that when you get to that point, mid-afternoon or mid-morning or whenever it is, you know, it's obviously different for all of us, but if you get to that point and you think, okay, I'm not going to get to dinner. I am hungry now, but I'm not yet hangry. So, and it's getting to know your hunger. Like,
Exactly.
that's another thing that with the sort of diet mentality, we're not given permission to trust our hunger. We kind of either think, oh, well, I'm hungry, so my diet must be working, in which case you end up in the cake tin by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you haven't eaten enough. Or you have some of your big diet companies who say, you'll never be hungry. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. Surely that's actually my body just giving me some information, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's another so many reasons why we're so screwed up around food, aren't there? I don't know about you, but I grew up, you were supposed to finish everything on your plate, and
because there were starving children in Ethiopia, and so we had to finish everything.
Yeah. But it's actually, even as a mother, it's really hard not to, because I know that my children will be hungry for dessert. So that's one way I get around it with them, is that, you know, I know that if they're full because they're not interested in dessert, but yeah, that idea that you have to clear your plate, whereas in actual fact, recognizing those hunger cues and recognizing when you're full is such an important thing to learn, and we basically train that out of our children.
From a young age.
Yeah.
It's really scary, and I really hope that people watching this who have younger children can just start to think, oh yeah, just because our generation had to finish everything on our plate before we could get down from the table or whatever, actually maybe that's not, maybe, you know, as babies know when they're hungry and when they're full, you know, and then it's, you know, it's around toddler age that we suddenly, the external stuff, again, it's back to the external internal, isn't it? The external stuff comes along and we start sort of getting these messages of, oh, well done, you've got a good appetite, you know, that's a good thing, until you're about 12, and then suddenly having a good appetite isn't a good thing because that you're going to get bigger, and too confusing. Yeah, no wonder we have a difficult relationship with food.
Exactly. And so I think that's essentially what I do around weight, is help people find a healthier relationship with food, so that they're making their own decisions and reading their body, and not feeling restricted, not feeling like there's stuff that they're not allowed, you know, not living by all these rules, but just actually finding some harmony and some acceptance and some connection to their body, so that they can embrace a healthy second half of your life.
Yeah, and by healthy, I guess we're meaning feeling epic, not some prescriptive healthy either.
Yeah, healthy from the inside, you know, feeling healthy, being and that's so different, isn't it, for each of us? What's a healthy weight for me, a healthy shape for me, a healthy size for me is not the same as somebody else. But I know when I'm eating well and I'm exercising enough, and whatever that body shape is that allows me to, whatever I'm eating, however I'm working, that allows me to feel like that, that's what healthy looks like for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's brilliant. And I think I don't want to go on too much longer because I think we've given a lot of information there, so quite a lot to unpick. But if anybody has, you know, is very aware that they have a difficult relationship with food and they wanted to work with you, you can help people get through this with hypnotherapy, among other things, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my aspect of it would be the hypnotherapy, and coaching, and just working through those issues,
which is such a powerful way to help people to start trusting themselves again.
Yeah, well, you can rewire your brain. That's the simplest explanation for hypnotherapy. It's just rewiring things. So, for example, if there's something that, if you're eating emotionally, you can kind of rewire that to another less damaging way of managing that feeling, or healing that feeling. So yeah, just using hypnotherapy to rewire some of those old ingrained habits that are outdated.
Yes, and that just aren't serving us anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Oh, well, it's lovely to see you.
Thank you very much, Kerry. That's been brilliant.
My pleasure. Catch up soon.